Hello and welcome to another episode of Chopping Onions. Today we are gonna make a very simple but incredibly tasty dish, also very special to me, as my grandma used to make it for me when I was a kid. It is called Fritao. I spent a big part of my childhood in a small village inside Sierra de Segura Natural Park, located in the south of Spain. One of the things I miss the most from those days is the food. The typical food from this region might not be as well known as the typical Spanish tapas that you've tried. But with this video I wanted to show one of the dishes they cook there, which is really good. And in the future, who knows, we might feature another. Shall we start? We start by chopping the meat in decent sized chunks. I am using the pork shoulder cut here, which I think is perfect for slow cooking and we can get a very tender result. You can try other cuts or even other meats, but you might need to do a little adjustment when cooking them. Now we season the meat with simply salt and pepper. After that, we take a deep frying pan and put it on a medium-high heat. We add a splash of olive oil and then the meat. We just want to seal the meat before adding the tomatoes. Later we add the tomatoes. I am using conventional plum tomato cans here. And when we start seeing bubbles, we reduce the heat to a minimum. That is very important because if we go too high with the heat while cooking this, the meat will become chewy, and that is not what we want. So we try to keep the heat high enough so it boils, but low enough so it does it very slowly. And we will have to leave it like that from 2.5 hours to 3 hours, stirring occasionally. I forgot to mention that I didn't use a lid to be able to record the whole process so you can see how the texture and color changes over time, but I would recommend you to use one, always letting the steam go out but also keeping the tomato inside the pan, otherwise it can get very messy. While the tomato and meat are cooking, we have time to roast the peppers and prepare them afterwards. So we put them on a baking tray with some aluminum foil covering them. We put them inside the oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 390 Fahrenheit for 45 to 50 minutes, removing the foil halfway through. After that, we can take them out of the oven, roasted but not burnt. And then we can prepare them. Oops, that was hot. Let's wait a couple of minutes before doing that. That was better. We now can remove the skin very easily. After they have been roasted, the skin and the flesh are not stick together anymore. We also try to remove the seeds, but it is alright to miss some. And do not throw away the liquid that came out of those peppers. There's a lot of flavor on that juice. Now we just have to finish cleaning them, removing as many seeds as possible. Having a bowl with water on the side will help you with those seeds sticking on your hand. We now slice them in long strips and reserve them for later. It is mandatory to dunk pieces of bread while eating this dish. Mojar pan, as we call it, is a big part of our culture. Of course you don't have to make your own bread, but I made this beautiful sourdough loaf that will go great with our fritao. Back to the pan, we have been cooking for 2.5 hours already. The liquids have reduced, so now it's easier to add the salt. But most importantly, we have to rectify the acidity of the tomato using just regular sugar, checking if what we added was enough. We needed an extra spoon this time. And if you remember the juice that we got from the peppers, we are gonna add it now for more flavor. And finally, we add the peppers. It is crucial to add the peppers at the very end, 10 or 20 minutes before finishing the dish. If you add them earlier in the process, they will probably dissolve in the mix and you will lose that beautiful texture. Now, after those extra minutes cooking, the dish is ready to be served. We serve with 2 pieces of the bread that we just made. And that is our Fritao. Not as good as the one that Grandma used to make, but close. And I hope you liked the video. Click on the subscribe button below if you want to see more videos like this. See you on the next one. Cheerio!